In tonight's Veterans Voices, a homecoming delayed for 8 decades. But World War II soldier from Chicago has finally been laid to rest after being killed in action in 1943.
U.S. Army First Lieutenant Ed McGuire's long journey highlights the remarkable work being done to bring missing service members home. As WGN's Mike Lowe now reports.
It was Thomas Wolfe who said, "You can never go home again." It took nearly a century, but U.S. Army First Lieutenant Ed McGuire finally proved that wrong. And so did this community.
Citizens standing there, hand over their heart as the American flag in the hearse goes by.
Lining the streets to welcome a war hero back to Chicago.
That sense of community that makes this country great.
On a late October Saturday morning, McGuire's remains finally returned from World War II, 80 years after he was killed in action.
Ready, step.
The story of how he got here stretches across 3 continents, 8 decades, and a lifetime of questions. At Most Holy Redeemer Parish in Evergreen Park, distant relatives gathered for what was simultaneously a long-awaited welcome and a final farewell, passing by the portrait of a 22-year-old. Who volunteered to serve his country during the Second World War.
Volunteered for the mission that took his life.
None of those who attended the funeral ever met McGuire, but there is no doubt they knew him.
I'm the oldest of my Uncle Ed's 6 nieces. My father was Bill McGuire, his younger brother.
My grandma McAuliffe talked about him all the time. She said that he was sharp, funny. There was this picture, him in his leather jacket, and there was a snowstorm going on, and he had this sheepish smile on his face.
McGuire's name is now etched on a memorial at Mount Carmel High School. He graduated in 1939 with the dream of becoming a teacher. He was a 20-year-old college student when Pearl Harbor was attacked. That day, his plans changed, along with thousands of others. He enlisted in the U.S. Army Air Forces, now known as the Air Corps, and volunteered to become a pilot.
He was so young. He needed his parents' permission.
On August 1st, 1943, the Army sent 177 planes on a daring mission, a bombing raid meant to destroy the oil refineries in Ploiești, Romania. The objective, to cut off the critical source of fuel for Hitler's war machine. McGuire was the pilot of one of the B-24 Liberators in Operation Tidal Wave.
It was one of our big chances to strike at the Third Reich's major petroleum refinery complex. And if we could do that, we could hopefully shorten the war.
But the Germans had deciphered the American code and knew the attack was coming. Tidal Wave was a bloodbath, one of the deadliest air battles in history.
Great number of casualties, loss of planes that occurred on this battle.
53 B-24 bombers were lost, and more than 500 Allied airmen were captured, wounded, or killed in the cauldron of Ploiești. McGuire's plane took enemy fire almost immediately, according to the 3 survivors who were on the plane with him.
One of the remarkable things is after his plane was hit, he was able to gain altitude.
In doing that, he exposed himself to enemy air fire for a longer period of time.
He was able to take his plane up 200 feet so that 3 of his crew could parachute out. And they actually were among the witnesses that knew the plane really had crashed in flames.
In the devastating aftermath, McGuire's remains could not be identified.
And I think that was, to us, the greatest mystery.
It was assumed he was buried in a mass grave in Romania. After the war, the American Graves Registration Command disinterred all American remains and brought them to Belgium.
there was never any known of the remains, and I think that's what ached at my grandmother very much, not knowing what happened to her brother.
Was there always kind of the question mark there? We don't
Yes.
know what happened?
Yeah, we didn't know.
What was it like all these years not actually knowing where his remains were?
Well, we always knew he was in heaven. And the fact that he was overseas was a sadness, but probably something after a number of years we would have accepted.
But the Army wouldn't accept that. In 2017, the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency began exhuming the unknown soldiers so forensic investigators could attempt to identify them.
Lieutenant McGuire is part of a disinterment.
Dr. Carrie Brown
The hat is just amazing.
is a forensic anthropologist at an Air Force base just outside of Omaha, Nebraska, where she manages one of the nation's 3 accounting agency labs.
We use multiple lines of evidence to confirm that ID to the exclusion of all other reasonable possibilities.
She is part of a team of scientists, historians, and detectives testing DNA, examining x-rays, dental records,
So this is a portion of map.
even fragments of maps, medallions, and military uniforms.
This is really amazing. So this is recovered underwater. So the preservation is quite phenomenal, but you actually have a rank insignia still on this cap. Sometimes if there's only one first lieutenant and everyone else is a second lieutenant, you might be able to actually tie that back to a specific person based on the rank.
To identify the remains of some of the 73,000 service members still missing in action. She helped identify McGuire's remains.
So in this case, we know when and where Operation Tidal Wave occurred. We're using dental records of the service members to compare to teeth that we have in the lab.
As we make ready his resting place.
In June, Mary Lynn McGuire Clark received a phone call from the Defense Department.
I can't tell you how amazed I was to learn that they had identified him.
First of all, I'm a very suspicious person, so I was like, this doesn't sound accurate. But then the more and more I heard about it, I thought it was the most remarkable thing I've heard in a long time.
You know, one of the things is, the military always says, let's not leave one man behind. And this is one of those true instances.
After the long journey home, his remains arrived in Chicago with a military honor guard waiting at Midway International Airport.
The Lord lift up his countenance upon him and give him peace.
Days later, McGuire was laid to rest with full military honors. At the funeral, the Army presented McGuire's family with the Purple Heart.
My uncle was a hero among heroes.
This war hero is not in Arlington Cemetery for a reason. His father Timothy and his mother Delia bought a plot for him next to theirs, so he could be with them in eternal life. They had their headstone engraved for him too. Killed in action, Ploiești, Romania.
On behalf of the President of the United States Army, and a grateful nation, please accept this flag as a symbol of our appreciation for your loved one's honorable and faithful service.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
McGuire's relatives are now scattered from Florida to Missouri and even Ireland. Whoever said you can't go home again never met this family and never knew Ed McGuire.
The Army brought our uncle home, and he has brought our family home.
At Holy Sepulchre Cemetery in Alsip, Mike Lowe, WGN News.
Astonishing. Dr. Carrie Brown emphasized to us that the United States is the only nation in the world that goes to such lengths to identify its missing soldiers. We'll be sharing inspiring stories of more Chicago veterans all week on the WGN News at 6, and then join WGN's Sean Lewis for our Veterans Voices special this Saturday, Veterans Day, at 6:30 p.m.